You know, Frank, if anyone ever wanted to assassinate you, you wouldn't be too hard to find.
Assassinate me? Who the hell would want to kill me?
You think you remember them, the faces that ruled TV screens, movie posters, and music charts in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But time has passed, and so have the years on these stars' faces. Today, we'll take you on a nostalgic ride, starting with their present-day look. Can you guess who they are before we reveal the past? From Hollywood icons to cult favorite legends, this is your ultimate then versus now challenge. Keep score, keep guessing, and to see how many legends you truly remember. Ready? Let's see how sharp your memory really is. Faces we knew by heart. There was a time when turning on the television meant more than just entertainment. It meant comfort. It meant hearing familiar voices, seeing faces that felt like part of your family, even though you never met them. They raised us from the screen, shaped our view of love, adventure, strength, and humor. And now, in 2025, those same faces carry decades of stories etched into their smiles and softened eyes. Yet many of us don't recognize them at first glance. The lines are deeper, the hair is silver or gone, the voices raspier. But if you take a closer look, it's all still there. The same sparkle, the same charm, and that same unmistakable presence that made them unforgettable. Start with Cheryl Ladd. You probably remember her best as Chris Monroe from Charlie's Angels, the soft-spoken blonde with a smile that could disarm any villain. Back then, she lit up the screen with a calm confidence that set her apart from other stars of the time. Now, at 74, she carries the same glow, just wiser, gentler. When her photo pops up in a 2025 interview, fans pause, squint, and then light up. It's her. It's always been her. Then there's Isai Morales. In the 80s, he played the complicated, protective brother in La Bamba. His face held layers, toughness, pain, love. Now, 63, his features are more defined, his eyes more reflective. He's continued to act, of course, but it's that early role that locked him into the hearts of many. When his recent pictures surfaced online, some fans recognized him immediately, while others only realized once the old movie clip played. That's how memory works. It needs a little help sometimes. Brenda Vaccaro had a presence that filled every room. In the 70s, whether she was delivering a dramatic monologue or cracking a joke on late-night talk shows, she owned her space. Now, 85, she's rarely in the spotlight. But when she is, people pause. That voice, still husky, still sharp. That energy, still unapologetic. Fans scroll past her image, then scroll back. Wait, is that her? Yes, it is. The same Brenda, just with a little more life behind her eyes. And who could forget Patrick Duffy, the man who played Bobby Ewing in Dallas, whose dramatic shower scene comeback is still one of the most talked-about moments in TV history. He's now 76, and while the boyish charm has faded, what remains is unmistakable dignity. When viewers see his recent interviews, they often say he looks like someone's wise uncle. But once he speaks, once that warmth and calm settles in, the recognition returns. That's Bobby. That's the man we watched week after week. Now take Kathleen Turner. In 2025, she's 71. But when you hear her voice, that sultry tone that once melted movie screens in Body Heat and Romancing the Stone, you know exactly who she is. Turner hasn't disappeared. She's evolved. Her strength has never been just about looks. It's in how she holds herself. Today, she walks with purpose and talks with conviction. Her features have changed, but her aura never has. Goldie Hawn is another name that stirs something in everyone. She danced, she laughed, she surprised us with depth when we least expected it. Now at 80, she still glows, though the glow is softer now, the laugh a bit slower. Her playfulness hasn't faded. When her photo flashes across the screen, Some viewers pause and tilt their heads, not quite sure. But then a clip from Private Benjamin or Overboard plays, and it all comes rushing back. That's her. That's the woman who made you feel like the world wasn't so heavy after all. Richard Dean Anderson, the man who taught a whole generation how to fix anything with duct tape and a Swiss Army knife. MacGyver himself. He's now 75. His hair is white, his frame broader, his face rounder, but he still has that practical, kind-eyed look. Fans of the original show look at him now and smile. He hasn't changed as much as the world around him has. Henry Winkler, the Fonz, is 80 now. He no longer struts around in leather jackets or bangs jukeboxes into submission, but he still has that unmistakable grin and warm eyes that made him the coolest man on television. Seeing him now feels like running into a long-lost friend who immediately picks up where you left off. Sam Elliott, whose deep voice and iconic mustache once defined the cowboy mystique, is 81. His hair is longer, whiter, but the gravitas remains. He doesn't have to speak to command attention. Just one look, and you remember every Western, every speech, every slow-motion walk he ever did. That's Sam. Still strong, still steady. Then there's Lindsay Wagner. As the Bionic Woman, she inspired a generation of girls to believe in their own strength. She was elegance and power in equal measure. Now 76, she's every bit as graceful, only now that grace comes with the wisdom of time. Her face is different, but her spirit hasn't changed, not one bit. As these faces reappear, sometimes quietly and sometimes in big reunion interviews, we're reminded of something we often forget. Time changes appearances, but not presence, not energy, not soul. These stars, once youthful icons, are now living legacies. But how many did you recognize before the name popped up? Did their smiles still spark something, or did you need a second look? The guessing game continues with even more familiar faces that might surprise you. Stay sharp. Icons in disguise. You might think you know them. You've seen their movies, their shows, their interviews. But in 2025, even the most iconic faces can blend into the background. Time has a way of reshaping legends into strangers, at least at first glance. And that's where this challenge truly begins. Because when you see someone like Diane Keaton walking down the street in a floppy hat and tailored coat, you may not realize at first that it's Annie Hall herself. At 79, Diane still radiates the cool eccentricity that made her a fashion icon and a critical darling. Her smile is the same, her wit just as sharp. But it might take you a moment before the pieces click together. Then there's Erin Gray. Once the sleek, futuristic beauty of Buck Rogers, Erin embodied confidence in silver spandex, decades before strong female leads were a trend. Today, at 75, she appears in documentaries and fan expos, her voice soft but authoritative. Fans often pause when they see her updated look, trying to connect the woman on screen now with the space heroine who defined their Saturday mornings. But when she speaks about her past, her pride shines through. She remembers the responsibility of her role. She knows what she meant to a generation. Sally Struthers is another one who sneaks up on you. The lovable Gloria from All in the Family is now 78. Her comedic timing was flawless. Her heart always evident behind every line she delivered. In 2025, she appears occasionally on stage and in charity events. She's less bubbly now, more grounded, but still unmistakably Sally. Her eyes twinkle the same way they did when she bickered with Archie Bunker on screen. Then we have Michael Douglas, the suave, sharp-edged presence behind films like Wall Street and Fatal Attraction. Michael is now 81. His voice is deeper, his movements slower, but his charisma never dimmed. When fans see him in recent interviews, they comment not just on how different he looks, but on how strong his energy remains. That's the secret of real star power. It adapts. It doesn't fade. Michael no longer plays the alpha male, but he doesn't have to. He commands attention simply by being. Barbara Eden is a name synonymous with magic. I Dream of Jeannie wasn't just a sitcom, it was a phenomenon. And Barbara was its heart. In 2025, she's 94. She appears rarely now, but when she does, audiences can't believe their eyes. Her voice, though softer, still carries that playful lilt. Her smile is eternal. For many fans, seeing her again is like stumbling upon a childhood memory that never left. It's emotional. It's nostalgic. It's pure joy. Shirley MacLaine, now 91, has long transcended her roles. She became more than just an actress. She's an icon, a spiritual explorer, a firebrand of personality. Her face in 2025 is deeply lined, her hair a soft silver, but her presence is larger than life. When she talks, people lean in. Her words still carry weight. Her eyes still hold secrets. You don't guess Shirley MacLaine, you feel her. Tom Selleck is another one who once owned the screen. With his Hawaiian shirts and mustache, Magnum P.I. became an emblem of 80s masculinity. Now 80, he's still active, still commanding. His recent appearances on talk shows show a man who has aged gracefully, laughing about the past, never trying to recapture youth. His fans appreciate that. He's not trying to be the man he was, he's showing them the man he's become. Kelly McGillis, remembered for her powerful role in Top Gun, is 68. Her change might be one of the most surprising for some fans. She's stepped away from Hollywood's bright lights and has been vocal about her journey, her choices, her truths. She's still strong, but in a different way. She's traded the spotlight for substance, and many admire her for it, even if they don't recognize her right away. Then there's Judd Nelson, the rebel from The Breakfast Club. Now 66, his edges have softened, his hair gone salt and pepper. He's not the firebrand in detention anymore, but the thoughtfulness in his eyes remains. His roles since then have varied, but that intensity he once brought to every scene, it's still there, just under the surface. Nick Nolte might be the most transformed of all. Known for his raw, magnetic performances in films like 48 Hours and The Prince of Tides, Nolte was once a symbol of rugged charisma. Now 84, he often appears in documentaries and retrospectives, his voice gravelly, his walk slower. But his memory remains sharp, and his passion for storytelling burns bright. Fans who hear him speak are reminded of the force he once was, and still is, in a quieter way. Gil Gerard, the star pilot from Buck Rogers, is now 82. Fans at conventions still line up to meet him, wide-eyed and nostalgic. His stories about the early days of sci-fi television capture the imagination. He may not fit the spandex anymore, but his legacy doesn't need a costume to shine. And finally, Shelley Long, Diane from Cheers, is 76. Her comedic timing, her intelligence, her expressive face made her unforgettable. Today, she's reclusive but still respected. When an old photo resurfaces or a scene from Cheers goes viral, the comment sections fill with praise. Not just for her beauty or talent, but for her impact. So how many of these legends did you recognize from their modern-day faces? Did their names come back to you with ease? Or did you need a moment to connect the past to the present? Because in the next one, we're going deeper. The transformations are more dramatic, the memories more faint, but the impact as powerful as ever. Let's see who still lives in your memory. Faces you forgot. Memory can be a strange thing. Sometimes you remember a voice, a line from a movie, or the way someone made you feel on screen, but their face today looks like a stranger's. These are the stars who defined an era, then quietly stepped out of the spotlight. Some embraced aging, some reinvented themselves, and some were simply forgotten until their images resurfaced and sent fans scrambling to connect the dots. This is where the real challenge begins, not just of recognition, but of reconnection. Take Catherine Bach, for instance. One glimpse of her as Daisy Duke was enough to send a million hearts racing. The denim shorts, the southern drawl, the confident swagger. But in 2025, she's 71. Her style is more subdued, her energy more grounded, but the spark remains. She occasionally attends fan conventions, always gracious, always humble. Her transformation isn't dramatic, it's human. And that's what makes her recognition so powerful. It's not about guessing the face, it's about remembering the feeling. Larry Wilcox, known for patrolling California highways in Chips, is now 78. His look today is that of a retired grandfather, relaxed and content. But for fans who followed his career, the recognition comes not from his hair or jawline, but from the eyes. They haven't changed. There's still that dependable calm in them, that same earnestness that once made millions trust him with their Saturday nights. Charlene Tilton brought drama and fire to Dallas as Lucy Ewing. Today, at 67, she still exudes personality. Her hair is lighter, her style more elegant. But when she laughs in interviews or recounts her early days on set, the transformation fades. It's Lucy again, not in age, but in attitude. John James, the suave heartthrob of Dynasty, is 69 now. His features have aged, but his voice hasn't. That low, polished delivery is unmistakable. When he appears at retro events or speaks about the golden days of primetime soaps, fans often close their eyes just to listen, and it's like no time has passed at all. Glenn Close needs no introduction. Her portrayal in Fatal Attraction remains etched in pop culture history. But in 2025, at 78, some fans still blink twice when they see her current image. She wears her age with pride, never hiding from the changes time brings. But behind the silver hair and fine lines, the fire remains. Her roles may have evolved, but her intensity never left. Pam Grier is another who refuses to be forgotten. The queen of blaxploitation cinema, the original Foxy Brown, Pam is now 76. She moves with dignity, her voice a mix of wisdom and warmth. Fans who see her in interviews are reminded that her strength wasn't just in her characters, it was always in her. Aging hasn't diminished her, it's enhanced her legacy. Lee Horsley, the cowboy detective from Matt Houston, is 70 this year. He's more reclusive than many on this list, rarely appearing in public. But when fans do catch a glimpse, perhaps at a Western fan event or a documentary clip, they immediately recall his rugged charm and easy charisma. His presence may have faded from TV, but not from memory. Bo Derek made waves, literally in 10. That beach scene became a cinematic icon. In 2025, she's 69, and her appearance has shifted toward timeless grace. When people see her now, they often do a double take, not because she looks so different, but because they forgot how deeply her image was imprinted on pop culture. Bernadette Peters, the Broadway legend, is 77. Her curls are still there, her voice still angelic. Fans who know her from Into the Woods or Sunday in the Park with George recognize her instantly, but younger viewers often guess wrong. She doesn't look like a typical grandmother. She looks like someone who's spent a lifetime mastering her art. Robert Redford, arguably one of the most iconic faces in film, is now 88. His hair has gone completely white, his face deeply lined. But when he speaks, when he smiles, when he delivers a thoughtful reflection on cinema, he is unmistakable. There's something in his gaze, that quiet confidence, that makes people lean in and say, "That's Redford." Harry Hamlin, from Clash of the Titans, is 74. His jawline has softened, his voice mellowed, but the aura remains. He's now often seen in indie projects or guest roles, still polished, still magnetic. He's not the demigod anymore, but he doesn't need to be. Donnie Most, Ralph Malph from Happy Days, is 72. His comedic flair has turned into grandfatherly charm. He appears in nostalgic retrospectives and fan panels. Fans sometimes struggle to place him at first glance, but the moment he starts talking, it clicks. The timing, the tone, the smile, they're all still there. Joyce DeWitt, the heart of Three's Company, is now 76. Her signature hairstyle is gone, but her energy remains. When she shares stories about her time with John Ritter and Suzanne Summers, fans are reminded of a trio that shaped an era. Her eyes still carry the sparkle of someone who loved what she did and still does. Anthony Michael Hall, the brainy teen from The Breakfast Club, is 57. Of all the stars on this list, his transformation is among the most dramatic. He's grown into a mature, weathered actor. His boyishness is gone, replaced by strength and gravitas. But fans who remember that detention room in 1985 always find him again. Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, is 86. Age has slowed him, but not erased him. He appears rarely, but when he does, the admiration is immediate. The man who once ran in slow motion across TV screens now sits quietly in interviews, but the legacy runs strong. Barry Williams, better known as Greg Brady, is 71. His face is fuller, his voice deeper, but when he talks about his Brady Bunch days, audiences remember why he was America's big brother. There's a comfort in seeing him again, like finding an old photo album and smiling at the memories. And then there's Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee himself. Now 85, Paul has aged into a quiet, humble figure. The swagger is gone, replaced by calm wisdom. But when fans hear that Australian twang and cheeky grin, it's as if nothing changed at all. These faces aren't forgotten. They're just waiting to be remembered. The transformations will only get deeper, more emotional, and more surprising. Because the more time passes, the more powerful it is to recognize what never really left us. Faces that defined the screen. It's strange how time plays with memory. You see a familiar face, one that once lit up the screen every week or dominated the box office, and suddenly you're transported. You remember the sound of the opening credits, the color of the room you watched it in, even what snack you were holding. But now, in 2025, those faces carry new stories, lines of laughter, years of wisdom, and a quiet strength you never noticed before. This chapter is for those stars who gave us unforgettable moments and whose transformations today still spark awe, recognition, and sometimes pure disbelief. Let's begin with a man who once symbolized charm and danger in a single glance. Richard Gere, who once played the aloof millionaire in Pretty Woman, is now 75. He still has that signature silver hair, only softer, like a cloud that drifted into a late evening. The sharp suits have been replaced by relaxed linen shirts, and while the red carpet is no longer a daily occurrence, his presence still commands attention. When he speaks now, there's a weight behind every word, as if years of Buddhist philosophy and quiet reflection have carved deeper meaning into everything he does. You may not recognize him right away, but when you do, it's as though the years melt. Now picture a face framed in the golden halo of beach-blown hair, eyes that once promised both romance and rebellion. Michelle Pfeiffer captivated audiences in Scarface, Dangerous Liaisons, and The Fabulous Baker Boys. Today, at 67, her elegance feels more grounded, less theatrical, more human. Her voice carries the same smoky register. Her eyes still light up with that mischievous spark, but her aura has shifted. She's no longer the ingenue or the femme fatale. She is the matriarch, the force of quiet endurance. And when her photo comes up on screen today, fans pause, not because they don't recognize her, but because they want to remember everything she ever made them feel. Then there's the original American sweetheart, Meg Ryan. She turned the romantic comedy into a cultural event. Every smile was a moment, every glance a line you quoted with friends. In 2025, she's 63 and wears the years with both pride and defiance. She's not hiding the changes. Her look today is softer, freer, less about perfection, and more about personality. The hairstyle may have changed, the features may be fuller or lighter, but the spirit is still unmistakable. When she appears on screen now, there's a bittersweet wave of nostalgia. You don't just see Meg Ryan, you feel every heartbreak and happy ending she ever delivered. One face that rarely left our screens through the late 70s and 80s belongs to James Spader. From Pretty in Pink and Videotape, he was always the enigma, the unpredictable one. Now, at 64, he's traded in the tight suits and boyish charm for a more professorial look. Glasses, silvering temples, and a gaze that's even more intense. His presence today doesn't hit you like a wave. It creeps in slowly, a kind of magnetic pull. You realize that some actors grow older, but some simply evolve into a different kind of magnetism. That's Spader, timeless, but also completely different from the man you thought you knew. And what about someone who truly defined what it meant to be a heartthrob? Rob Lowe in the 80s was a poster on every teenager's wall. Blue eyes that looked like they had secrets, and a smile that could undo any script. At 61, he remains one of the rare examples of a celebrity who appears to have made some kind of pact with time itself. The face is leaner, the lines more pronounced, but the charm is entirely intact. He's aged, yes, but it feels more like a refinement than a transformation. And when fans guess his face before the reveal, it's always with a kind of triumphant joy, like recognizing an old friend across a crowded room. Some transformations, though, are more dramatic and more emotionally stirring. Take Molly Ringwald, the face of teenage angst in the 80s. Her characters didn't just cry and fall in love. They fought to be heard. Today, at 57, Molly Ringwald looks like someone who has lived deeply and reflected even more. Her eyes are more thoughtful, her style more restrained, but the fire is still there, just quieter. When her photo comes up, viewers squint, hesitate, and then it clicks. The realization is not just visual, it's emotional. You remember her as you remember yourself, and suddenly, you're not just guessing who she is, you're remembering who you were when you loved her. Anthony Edwards, who played Goose in Top Gun and later Dr. Green on ER, is another name that brings waves of emotion. He's now 62 and still carries the same grounded energy. His look has changed significantly, though. Balding, bearded, and more rugged than polished, he looks like a professor who could still fly a jet if asked. When you recognize him, it's not about glamour or nostalgia. It's about resilience. He reminds viewers that stars don't disappear when they age. They shift into new roles, new meanings, and their faces, even when changed, still tell the same truth. Whoopi Goldberg might be one of the most instantly recognizable names on this list, but her transformation is profound. From the comic brilliance of Sister Act to the raw power of The Color Purple, she's been a fixture in our cultural lives. Now at 69, Whoopi carries herself with the authority of someone who has seen too much to pretend. Her dreadlocks are longer, her glasses more prominent, and her voice more resonant than ever. When she speaks today, it's not just commentary, it's a sermon. And when her image appears on screen, even before the name is revealed, there's an unmistakable reverence. Then there's Daryl Hannah. In the 80s, she was otherworldly. Splash, Blade Runner, Wall Street, her look was ethereal, almost too perfect to be real. In 2025, she's 63 and has embraced a completely different kind of beauty. Earthy, natural, deeply connected to causes that matter, Daryl Hannah has become more than an actress. She's an activist, a voice. Her look today is weathered and sun-kissed, full of presence. It may not match the fantasy from decades ago, but it replaces it with something richer, a kind of authenticity that makes you sit up and take notice. Bill Murray's transformation is one that doesn't surprise but still delights. The deadpan king of Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day is now 74. And while the humor remains, the edges are softer. His eyes have deepened into something almost melancholic, a kind of joy that's been through grief and come out wiser. When he smiles now, it's not a punchline, it's a gift. Recognizing his face is never a challenge. What surprises viewers more is how much emotion they feel when they see it. Because Bill Murray doesn't just remind you of movies, he reminds you of time itself. Sissy Spacek was never about glamour. From Carrie to Coal Miner's Daughter, she gave performances that felt peeled straight from the soul. At 75 today, she remains luminous. Her hair is white, her face lined, but the softness in her expression feels unchanged. When fans try to guess her image in this video, they pause, not out of confusion, but because her face has always demanded a closer look. You don't just remember what she played, you remember how she made you feel. And in that memory, her transformation feels less like aging and more like continuity. Finally, there's one transformation that surprises almost everyone. It's not just about age or time, but about the unexpected. Rick Springfield, the pop rock sensation behind Jesse's Girl, is now 75. His youthful face has matured into something sharper, more intense. The guitar is still there. The swagger is still there. But now, there's a kind of quiet rage, too. A fire that doesn't scream, but smolders. He's still performing, still writing, still proving that reinvention is not just a possibility, it's a necessity. When his current face flashes on the screen, fans hesitate. Then the younger image appears, and the floodgates open. The scream, the sing-along, the posters, it all comes rushing back. We've seen how time sculpts, how fame fades and redefines itself, and how recognition is not always instant, but always meaningful. These stars remind us that identity isn't fixed. It grows, softens, strengthens, and in 2025, the faces we once knew are still here, wiser, braver, and in many ways, more real than ever. Thanks for tagging along. How many stars did you guess right? Drop your score in the comments and tell us which one surprised you most. If you loved this trip down memory lane, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next round of throwbacks. More nostalgia is on the way.